And welcome. It is Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. I'm not tripping about that. I'm not wrong about that. It's 89 degrees here in northern New Jersey. It's pretty warm, you know what I'm saying? And after this, I'm gonna get me a run outside because I don't know if I've told you. I'm sure I have told y'all by now, but I love running in the sun, man. It's just something about it. Running outside when it's super hot, when the sun's out, when it's super humid. I don't know, it just brings some type of primitive element out of you that just makes you push, you know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to that. It was a good weekend. I'm still on the apartment, searching for apartments, but I'll get that together. I'm not worried about it. Everything is all good. Now, let's go ahead and get started. We got quite a bit of things to discuss today. We got a decent amount of dating stories that we're going to go over. We got one of the judges lifting the gag order off of Donald Trump. So now he gets to talk a little bit of shit about the witnesses and the jury and stuff like that. So he doesn't have to worry about that right now. We got Fritz, we got Queen Fritz, we got Libby, we got Lord of Bananas, we got and Doctor Who Gives a Fuck. You know what? I dig that. I really dig that handle, Doctor Who Gives a Fuck. Somebody who's a physician should like actually get their name legally changed to that, and then people will be like, "What? Like, nah." I know I sound kind of off, but I'm actually the best doctor in the whole state of Virginia. Apparently, this doctor lives in Virginia. I don't know where you at, but we playing make believe right now, so it's all good. We got brother Alonzo in the building. What's going on with you, King? What's going on with you, brother? And we got Sigourney. Yes, indeed. But yeah, we got a little bit of stuff to go over before I get outside, and I'm gonna get outside in the sun. And again, it's not just the work, but the tan, because I'm quite pale. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get out in the sun and do a little something about that. We got Christina. What's going on? Christina just celebrated a birthday a couple of days ago. So please wish her a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Christina. We love to have you here. And we wish you many, many more years. Oh yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the presidential debate for sure. Yeah, Libby, apartment. Well, I mean, moving is always just annoying because moving your stuff, and there's always a bunch of shit that you just don't really use. So, but it's all good. We getting there. We got distracted gardener. What's going on? How you doing today, sister? But yeah, I'm looking forward to the presidential debates for sure. Um, it's been really funny watching like everybody talk about like, oh, Joe Biden, is he going to be drugged up? Is he going to be on amphetamines? Of course he is. Why wouldn't he be? But I've always said like I don't really find that to be like super strange. Like we have this weird notion that people, if you're well, I guess it's not all bad to expect our leaders to be healthy, and by healthy I mean like not have drug problems. It's reasonable to expect the people that we give power over our lives in a lot of ways. It's reasonable that we expect them to be mentally and physically healthy individuals, at least enough to do that. But people take stimulants, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not like a strange thing. I think we're kind of out of that era where we're like politicians don't drink alcohol and don't have sex and don't do drugs. Of course they do. They're people. And as we've discussed many times, part of, adult life. Oh, we got Mara in the building. What's going on? Oh, y'all got to represent for the light skins because Drake, Drake been fucked that up. Drake fucked up the game for light skinned brothers. So, I got to do something about that. But yeah, I'm definitely. I mean, I don't know what it's gonna do numbers wise, but obviously, millions of people are gonna tune in, and especially the footage afterwards, people are gonna be watching it. I don't know really what to expect. I think it'll be a lot like what we saw already. I mean, is Trump gonna act unhinged? Probably. What else does he really have to do? He's a convicted felon, and he lost in 2020. So, like, what's he gonna do? My guess is he'll go in there and talk about inflation and the border. But other than that, I mean, what's he really going to say? If Joe Biden goes in there with some energy, I think that, I don't know how, debates typically, at least from what I've seen, don't really swing voting percentages that much. But I mean, I think if Joe Biden goes in there and does a little decent, I think, but we'll see. I really don't know what to expect. But what I do know is, of course, both of them are going to be on stimulants or something. And I don't really think that's bad. People take stimulants. It's not a big deal. Oh, thank you, Christina. Yeah, yeah. See, I'm here for many reasons. I have many callings, and bringing light skins back is definitely one of them. So I don't know if y'all saw this. Julian Assange, WikiLeaks founder, to plead guilty to violating the Espionage Act. All right. Julian Assange has agreed to plead guilty to violating the Espionage Act and is expected to appear in a U.S. courtroom on the Northern Mariana Islands in the coming days. The guilty plea, which is to be finalized Wednesday, will resolve Assange's outstanding legal matters with the U.S. government. Justice Department prosecutors recommended a prison sentence of 62 months in custody as part of the plea agreement. CBS News has learned Assange would not spend any time in U.S. custody because under the plea agreement he'll receive credit for the approximately 5 years he has spent in a U.K. prison fighting extradition to the United States. In a letter to the federal judge on Monday, the Justice Department said Assange opposed traveling to the continental U.S. to enter the guilty plea. The Justice Department expects Assange to return to Australia after the court hearing. Excuse me. All right. So,
Well, it'll have a number if we don't. Okay.
yeah, and I have another article pulled up here, but it's basically just showing him getting on the plane. So he's already got 5 years served. Yeah, I think the debate will probably be pretty boring too. I don't think it's good, and even if it's not, it won't be anything that we've never seen before. Um, but yeah, so we got Julian Assange, who's already marked down for serving for 5 years served. They're looking to give him 62 months. Um, so yeah, we'll definitely keep up with that. Stay updated. All right, now we got some Charlie Kirk stuff. We got some stuff from Fox News, and we got Jamal Bowman stuff. We got a bunch of stuff today. All right, let's look at this. So, I bet this made Trump very happy right here. Uh, Judge alters Trump's gag order, letting him talk about witnesses, jury after hush money conviction. How happy do you think this made him? And I mean, even at that, how childish is it that this is something that he struggles with? You know what I'm saying? Like, how ridiculous is it that he can't stop talking about witnesses or the jury or anything like that? That he's gotten in trouble for stuff. And now that the gag order is lifted, of course he's going to talk about them. I mean, he's just I still really I mean, I guess either, I get it, but at the same time, I still it's perplexing to me that the Republican Party didn't just go with somebody else. Because even if he wins in 2024, it's like, which obviously he has a good chance of winning. What good is that really going to do for the Republican apparatus as a whole? I don't think it's going to do much good for them at all. Um, but it's the bed that they made for themselves, so whatever. A judge today modified Donald Trump's gag order, freeing the former president to comment publicly about witnesses and jurors in the hush money criminal trial that led to his felony conviction. But it's like this is so stupid. All right, let's see. Where are we? Sorry. But keeping others connected to the former president's case off limits until he's sentenced on July 11th, which is a few weeks from now. So after July 11th, he can continue running his mouth and talking shit about these other people. It's all right. Just keep holding your breath for a little bit longer. We good. Judge Juan M. Merchan's decision, just days before Trump's debate Thursday with President Joe Biden, clears the presumptive Republican nominee to again go on the attack against his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, porn actor Stormy Daniels, and other witnesses. Trump was convicted May 30th of falsifying records to cover up a potential sex scandal, making him the first ex president convicted of a crime. And again, I mean, he better win. Donald Trump if he loses, it's not. he's in a bad spot. He's in a bad spot if he loses because he's already been found guilty. But then, of course, the coming criminal trials are for more serious matters. So if he doesn't win, he's in trouble. Like no matter what happens, if he does not win, he's fucked. And even if he wins, I mean, he's still kind of fucked. His legacy, what he has to pass on, all of that's it's permanently stamped in the history books as like a bad time for the world in the United States. It's perfect. It's permanently stamped as a joke. Like in 20 years, people are going to be looking at this like, did we really went through this? We really did this. But I mean, in a lot of ways, it's just kind of the death of a whole era, you know. So the silver lining is we're moving into new times. All right. In a 5-page ruling, did I just? No, I didn't. In a 5-page ruling Tuesday, Merchant wrote that the gag order was meant to protect the integrity of the judicial proceedings and that protections for witnesses, and that protections for witnesses and jurors no longer applied now that the trial has ended and the jury has been discharged. How nice are they're so endlessly like nice to him. I mean, if this was anybody else, how much trouble would they have been in? For all the gag orders that were violated and just every day he comes out of court and runs his mouth and says fuck the judge, fuck the jury, fuck the witnesses, and fuck you. Fuck everybody and fuck you too. And then he waltzes back in. Hold on. Let me put this on vibrate so it doesn't distract me. But it's just like all right, well now he's been set loose. So I mean there's really not much else to say about that other than he's going to continue to do his thing. He's going to continue to be Donald Trump and run his mouth. Even when the gag orders were in place, he still broke them. But he knows his limits. All right, what's up with Charlie Kirk right now? What we got, Charlie Kirk? Because I don't even remember what I clicked on for this. Charlie Kirk worries Trump's still fretting over 2020 election. Does not do us any good. All right, what is this? Hopefully this isn't the... Okay, it's not. It's a clip. Whenever it plays, might have to reload the page or something.
I think that Trump's obsession with 2020, all right, still continues to hurt him in this election. Am I wrong?
So first, I'll say that there's a season for all things. And when it was really let's just say a recent wound, I think it was helpful to talk about ways we could have secured the election better and things we could have done better in 2020. I will say, though, in this season we're in right now, talking about 2020 does not do us any good. So I'm in full agreement. For example, I think a trap question that might be thrown at Donald Trump this debate will be if Jake Tapper asked Donald Trump if do you accept the 2020 election results?
And he will.
How is that a trap question? It's just a question. Now, and this shows too how full of shit these people are, because when they need to be coherent and make sense, they do. That's not to say that their ideologies or their actions or their path are fully valid. Of course not. But, for Charlie Kirk to sit here and clearly, logically say, yeah, right now talking about 4 years ago really doesn't do much for the future. They know. It's just a constant branding exercise that they put on. But again, of course, it's not a trap question to ask Donald Trump if he lost in 2020. If Donald Trump had ever admitted that he lost, people wouldn't ask him about it. But, the whole January 6th thing and the whole him denying the election up until today, of course they're going to ask him about it.
How Donald Trump navigates that question.
And his ass is going to say it was stolen. He's definitely going to say it was stolen. Why wouldn't he? He's not going to switch it up all of a sudden.
Well, I think how he navigates that question is important.
How can you navigate that question though? The only thing you can say is You can either tell the truth or you can lie. There's no in between. Either Donald Trump can, for the first time after all these years, be like, you know what, I lost in 2020. I've been bullshitting y'all. I've been lying. You know what I mean? But that's not who he is. And even if it was who he is, like, why switch it up now? Why change it up now? What's that gonna do for you? Nothing. Not really. So yeah, Jake Tapper or whoever else it is, they're gonna ask him, did you lose in 2020? And he's gonna say, no, I won in 2020. Which I'm really interested to see about that, because I think he's probably gonna ramble and ramble. And then also, when they ask him, like when he talks about abortion, right? Because they're gonna talk about abortion. Um, what what's he gonna say? What he has been saying is that we gave it back to the states and that's what everybody wanted. But of course, that's not what everybody wanted. That's no. I mean, is he gonna say Republicans went too far? I just I don't know, man. I think he's gonna shit the bed. Not that it's gonna make much or any difference at all in his polling numbers, but I don't really expect him to do well in the debate. How can he do well in this debate? All right, let's see what we got. Janine Pirro and Fox and Friends yelling at each other about some shit. What they yelling? I'm not changing the subject. Fowler and Pirro clash, intense exchange.
One, my family goes out to Jocelyn. My heart goes out to Jocelyn's family, and you know, I think these suspects, right? If they're found guilty, the whole book should be thrown at them. This is a very heinous
death penalty.
Sure. Right, and it's a very heinous crime. But I think that we also, too, in this country, we believe in nuance and bright lines. And I think there's a clear bright line between these two individuals that you're watching on your screen and an infant that crosses the border with their mother, who, yes, according to the law that Judge Janine mentioned, would be considered an illegal alien. But they did not make the choice to cross. They crossed with their family, and now all they want to do is assimilate.
We're not talking about dreamers. We're talking about illegals.
No. But yes,
we're
but they
not talking about dreamers. Hold on,
I did not interrupt you. According to, I'm not changing the subject. I am not changing the subject, and I did not interrupt you. According to the law that you quoted, an infant that crosses the border would be deemed an illegal alien. Yes, they would. It doesn't have an age. It does not have an age differential there.
That's not in this statute.
It does not have an age differential.
Then
does it have an age differential? It doesn't.
Exactly. Know. You're pivoting.
I'm not pivoting. I'm telling you exactly what's on that paper you just read. So, like I was saying, I could clearly see there's not an age differential on there. So, like I was saying, if we want to have a conversation about how we fix this problem, one, those guys should be behind bars. Maybe the death penalty if the DA makes that decision. But we also need to be courageous as a country, whether you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, to say what that DA said at the beginning of this segment. Our immigration system is broken, and Democrats can't fix it alone, and neither can Republicans.
Well, I didn't see the full segment, but what her
One,
drunk
my family
ass.
goes out, to Jocelyn.
I don't know if she's drunk right there, but she just always seems off it. Don't talk about innocent babies right now. That doesn't matter. What does that have to do with anything? All right. Yeah, no, she again, I don't know about her right there, but I've seen her many times just like, yo, you were recently drinking. Like you've been and they should be on in the morning, in the afternoon. Like I don't think they shit is on in the evening unless I'm mistaken. Like, I mean, I know people got problems with substances. I've had problems with substances, but man, sometimes it'd be like, yo, you've been drinking all morning because you are sauced right now. And alcohol makes you, especially when you drink it a lot, like it can make you angry and shit. But we won't speculate too much. Now, so John Fetterman says that his near-death experience inspired him to abandon progressive ideas. I mean, like this is just yes, Fritza. In fact, the laundry is finished. I just so happen to have on a tank top right now. Usually that's a sign. Usually when I have on a tank top, it's a sign that I've been hand washing clothes for the last few days. But that's not the case today. Actually, a few days, when was it? I think Sunday. I don't know, one day, a few days ago, I got a whole lot of laundry done. Indeed. So we good. But yeah, this is just like, I mean, it's embarrassing to oh, I had exactly. This doesn't make any sense. It's like, I mean, the only way that this makes sense is because you have brain damage. But like, you would think that a near-death experience would make you more progressive, generally speaking. And by that, I mean like, like if you have a close brush with death, typically that would make you more like open-minded, soft-hearted, at least for a little bit. At least for a little bit. But yeah, this is just silly. Senator John Fetterman claimed that a near death experience with the stroke caused him to leave progressive ideas behind. I mean, it just sounds like a cheap cop out. Like, this sounds like a lazy excuse for why you're not following through with what you used to stand on. That's all this is. And it's the only way that it's coming off. Nobody believes this. In early June, Fetterman revealed that he was moving away from the progressive the progressive label he used to embrace. He was criticized by some within his party for his opinions on critical issues, specifically his support for Israel and concerns regarding border security. He recognized that the progressive label was no longer a good fit for him. Fetterman discussed the supposed impact of his near death during an interview with it was on Bill Maher, of course. Bill Maher was probably like, yes, yes, more of this. So he said, hold on, he publicly, Maher asked if that played a part in letting him speak so freely. Fetterman says, it's freeing in a way. And I just think after beating all of that, I just really want to be able to say the things that I have to really believe in and not be afraid if there's any kind of blowback. I guess. I didn't leave the label. My bad. I keep getting all these messages. I didn't leave the label. It left me on that. Okay, okay. After what happened on October 7th, I always really knew that that whole progressive stack would be blasted apart and there are not going to be any what? That whole progressive stack would be blasted apart and there are not going to be any kind of he can't talk. I don't know if they just wrote it like this or it's hard to read what he's saying because I'm sure he's still having difficulty speaking after his stroke, but it's hard to read this. That whole progressive stack will be blasted apart, and there are not going to be any kind of way how the Democrats are going to be able to reply to that kind of response. And I really decided early on that I believe that was going to be the right side with Israel throughout all of that. And I knew that was going to be Democrats would continue to peel away and kind of walk away from standing with Israel on that. Some of the most progressive and left parts of the Democratic Party are standing for the kind of he can't talk. Are standing for the kind of side that have kinds of organizations like Hamas or these kinds of nations that there are no rights for women, and they certainly don't embrace the LGBTQ kinds of lifestyle. And even in Philadelphia, the Queers for Palestine blocked the Pride parade in Philadelphia. I never saw that on the bingo card. In late April, Fetterman said that the anti-Israel protesters were assholes in response to progressives who attacked Israel. He also said that these protests do not make you noble. Even though he slammed these protests, he clarified that he supports the right to protest and to have different opinions. Fetterman mentioned that the issue is when protests disrupt lives, including the large-scale marches with blocked public streets and highways. Okay, so he's just a Republican now, basically. Well, he's still got several years left in that seat, in that senator seat. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, this was, I mean, like it just this seems like such a cheap cop out. Like I had a stroke and now I'm a totally different person, which yeah, I'm sure that's possible, but I mean, how real is that? Like how genuine is that? But this just all everything we just read him through outside of it being difficult to read. Um, I don't know. This just seems kind of cheap. I don't really know what's up with him, honestly. Maybe he's just having problems. But yeah, he's just it's not even because it'd be different if he was just a bit more of a centrist, a bit more of a centrist. Then you couldn't really have as much issue with him because it's like you're letting everybody know what's up. You didn't lead people astray. You didn't make people feel like you'd stand on issues that you don't now. I mean, when you're dealing with somebody that you might not be fully in agreement with, you might not be in agreement with them, but you don't necessarily distrust them. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, it's. I really think he's having. I don't know what's up. But now onto this. Rep. Jamal Bowman faces tough challenge from George Latimer in Democratic primary in New York suburbs. But okay, he's a former middle school principal. Okay, let's see what's up. Rep. Jamal Bowman, one of the most liberal members of Congress, will try to fight off a strong Democratic primary challenge Tuesday from moderate County Executive George Latimer in a New York race that has put a spotlight on the party's divides over the Israel-Hamas war. Latimer got into the race at the urging of Jewish leaders upset with Bowman's criticism of Israel. An exorbitant amount of money, mostly tied to the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, of course, has flooded into the race to oppose Bowman after he accused Israel of committing genocide in Gaza, where over 37,000 Palestinians have been killed. Bowman has, Bowman also opposed a symbolic House resolution to support Israel after the October 7th attack by Hamas. Yo, is the clampdown on not being able to criticize Israel is really ridiculous. It's so ridiculous because even if Israel wasn't guilty of what they've been guilty of, why does any nation need that much defense such that you can't say anything about it at all? People lose their jobs over standing up for Palestinians, and it's not really doing anything for Israel. It's not really helping Israel. It's not really positively benefiting the nation at all. It's pissing people off. It's making people not like Israel more, especially Netanyahu. Because it's not as if all the Israeli citizens are on board with what Netanyahu's government has done and is doing. It's just dumb, man. This whole approach is ridiculous. Apex Allied Super PAC has spent nearly $15 million on the primary. That's a lot of money. According to the Federal Election Commission records, the cash paid for a torrent of ads attacking Bowman, who has accused the influential pro-Israel lobbying group of trying to buy the race in the mostly suburban district north of New York City. A Bowman loss would disrupt what has generally been a stable primary season for congressional incumbents. Most current members of Congress have been able to repel challenges from within their party, though GOP Rep. Bob Good is in a tight contest with a rival backed by Donald Trump in a race that is too close to call. Some major progressive figures have rushed to Bowman's defense. In the final stretch of the race, he allied with liberal darlings Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator Bernie Sanders, while Latimer pulled in the endorsement of former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. Good old Hillary Clinton, back to side with corporate dollars. The winner of the primary will be the prohibitive favorite to win the general election. The district, which includes parts of Westchester County and a small piece of the Bronx, is a Democratic stronghold. Latimer is 70 years old, has been in politics for more than 30 years. So he's been in politics for probably a little bit longer than I've been around, been alive. I'm 32. Apparently, we all missed the announcement, Fritz, because again, it's like, you can't say nothing about him. Everything is off limits. But yeah, there's a lot of money going into this race. Westchester's Westchester's more of a well-to-do county, which means yeah, I think he has more of a chance of having obstacles over the Israel issue because he's in Westchester and people have more money there, and typically more money means more liberal or more conservative. There's definitely progressives with a lot of money, but just in terms of like voting blocks, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, where we at now? Because oh, well, let's look at this. The Supreme Court doing its thing, fucking up the country. Supreme Court just took its first swipe at marriage equality. Last week, the conservative justices buried a soft repudiation of Obergefell in an immigration case, likely laying the ground for more attacks. Ugh, this dude, man. Clarence Thomas. Okay, I'm probably going to end up reading this in a different format. Okay, this isn't that long. I don't like reading editorials that much, but this doesn't seem that long. So let's read it. Every year, there's at least one Supreme Court case that I wasn't paying attention to or didn't think was that important. That absolutely floors me for its cruelty and misapplication of the American law. This year, the case is Department of State versus Munoz, an immigration case that the justices ruled on last week. While I had fully expected the court to use the case to continue its longstanding tradition of racist rulings against brown immigrants, I had not anticipated that it would also turn out to be a frontal attack by Republican justices on the right to marry, aimed squarely at gay and lesbian couples. Munoz will be a case the conservatives cite in future opinions limiting same sex marriages whenever they get around to taking away the rights recognized in Obergefell v. Hodges. I mean, at this point, we certainly can't put it past them that they would do something like that, but it's just like, I mean, oh God, Snicks, where are you at? It's 106. Where are you at? You in the you in the Southwest or something? Where you at? It ain't quite that here. It ain't that. It don't really get that hot here, but the humidity is going. It's like 90 degrees right now or something. High humidity, 106. Damn. All right, Trent, what's going on, brother? How you doing? The case involves an American citizen, Sandra Munoz, who has been trying to get a permanent residency card for her husband, Luis Asensio Cordero. Many people know that a non-citizen can obtain legal status in this country if they marry an American citizen. But many white people don't know that the process is not automatic. The government reserves the right to deny entry to spouses, and non-white people face that reality all the time. Asensio Cordero came to this country without documentation in 2008. In 2010, he married Munoz. They were married for 5 years and had a child together, and decided to make his status legal by applying for a green card. Due to our Byzantine immigration laws, this required Asensio Cordero to get a waiver from the Department of Homeland Security, absolving him of his past undocumented entry. But in El Salvador, the U.S. consulate denied his application. The consulate didn't even give him a reason for why he was denied. He was just denied. Munoz and Asensio Cordero guessed that the reason might be that the consular suspected he was a member of the transnational MS-13 gang based on some of his tattoos. It is critical to note that Asensio Cordero had no criminal record, either in the United States or El Salvador, and had literally never been arrested, but he had tattoos. Based on this, Asensio Cordero renounced any affiliation with MS-13. Munoz is actually a well-known workers' rights attorney. That's his wife. And she was able to get a sitting U.S. Representative Judy Chu to send a letter to the State Department on Asensio Cordero's behalf. Because again, they denied his application, but they didn't give him a reason. Okay. Oh, you in North Carolina? Whoo! Oh, damn. Speaking of North Carolina, I might live in North Carolina for a couple of months this summer. Because my lease is up at the end of July, and so I may go there while I continue to look for places up here. Man, and 106. Damn. I was thinking that Snicks was in like um Arizona or something like that, or maybe New Mexico. Ooh, damn. Man, it's gonna be because obviously summers are hot, but it's not even July and it's this hot. Like, it's going to be insanity. It's going to be insane. Like, as July picks up, then August is usually hotter. Man, drink your water. Make sure you stay hydrated. Okay, so it seems like they're using this case to go after what could be next, same-sex marriages. Munoz sued as the American citizen. In this case, she argued that her fundamental right to marry was being infringed on by the government's denial of basic due process rights to her spouse. In a 6-3 ruling that broke along partisan lines, Justice Amy Coney Barrett upheld the State's Department's decision, defending its failure to uphold due process rights, and left Asensio Cordero to rot in El Salvador for all she cared. Man, I wish this wasn't written as an editorial, because we could have gotten to the point a lot faster. Separating out the right to marry from the right to live with your spouse. Yeah, see, I don't like articles like this. Like, it's trash on its face. Like, these articles, like, they're fine, but it's just like it's a waste of time. Like, this could have just been, and obviously I'm the one who clicked on it, but still, I'm just saying, like, this is why I don't really like editorials, because I don't really care what you have to say about it all that much. Just tell me what's up. Like, this is an entire page, and it could have just been like, this is what the Supreme Court's doing, and this is why. But instead, she's like, oh, it's so evil. It's so terrible. Which it is, but still, I don't really care. But again, what did the shit? They reverse Roe. They recently made it so that the EPA has more of a difficult time uh keeping the environment clean. They recently made it so that you can loan yourself more money on a campaign trail, which means basically you open yourself up to more corruption, because it's legal for you to owe more money to people, which again, you owe more money, then they own more of you. They just, did the bump stock thing. Pretty much whatever. It's like, whatever they can rewind the clock on, they're going to do it, because, conservatism. And then Clarence Thomas, he was the only person who voted, who, I think all the other, what was that? It was some case. He was the only, it had something to do with guns. And he was like, nah, the US ain't never done nothing about gun violence, so why start now? Exactly. I want the straight poop. Exactly. But yeah, it's too many words. Like, there's nothing wrong with this kind of article. It's just not that great for what we're doing. But we'll keep our eyes on this for sure. This was about about Munoz, about her husband being denied due process without cause, without reason. And so we'll have to keep our eyes on this. But yeah, why wouldn't the Supreme Court roll back gay marriage? Why wouldn't they? Look at what they've done so far. All right, so now we get to look at wasted well, not, I wouldn't say wasted money. Every $1 billion weather disaster in the US in the past year. And these numbers are very, very important. Because they're going to keep going up because, weather conditions get more extreme pretty much every year. Pretty much. I mean, in my lifetime, there's been less snow in areas. It used to be more. I mean, everything's just out of balance. Jesus, how long is this? Okay, here we go. This is like a list. So let's go down. Southern severe weather. 0 deaths, but over $1 billion in damage from severe storms. Hail the size of golf balls across the central and eastern Texas damaged homes, vehicles, and businesses. This is good to go over too, because it helps put into perspective how much all of this stuff really costs, and how negligent the government has been on keeping our infrastructure together. Fort Lauderdale flash flood. 1.133 billion, over 25 inches of rain in less than 24 hours. Yeah, what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that? Central and southern tornado outbreak. 3 deaths, over $1 billion. An outbreak of more than 140 tornadoes hit Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas, causing widespread damage. So this is last year. This is just last year. So the 140 tornadoes in those, what do they call it? Tornado Alley? Is that Tornado Alley? Southern Derecho. Severe storm. Another billion plus dollars. East Coast storm and flooding. I remember a lot of that. And we're looking at these so far. These numbers aren't even like, the death tolls have been like 0 or 3. This is the highest one we've seen so far, and the damage is over $1 billion. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, and oftentimes things don't get fixed. Clearly. Oh, that's really pretty wherever that is. 20 dead, winter storm over a bit. So we're looking at all these Western Washington and Oregon, southern severe storm weather, $1 billion. Pretty much everything's a billion. And everything we're seeing is mostly severe thunderstorms and flooding and hurricanes. And the numbers are looking like pretty much anytime there's, oh yeah, so here we go. These are with the hurricanes now. Or no, this is winter storm. This is from a winter storm. This is the highest death toll so far, 41 and almost $2 billion. We still have, okay, I guess, yeah, it's just going up in terms of price. This is heat. Oh no, this is hail. Let's see what the most expensive one is. Let's scroll down. But pretty much everything we're seeing is the same. It's just more severe weather patterns. Well, now we're in the 2 billions. Let's get down to the number 1. Woo! Okay. Southern Midwest drought and heat wave. 247 deaths, $14.787 billion. The Colorado River is running out of water. Man, we got serious issues. We have serious problems. Infrastructure is definitely one of the biggest issues that we have to address as a planet, but especially as a nation, we have to. Our plumbing system, our pipes are all messed up. People's water's poisoned all over the place. Levees aren't made to withstand storms, flood. I mean, we're just not prepared. All right. But yeah, nah, man, that's that. And too, like for stuff like drought, that's more of like you know, like those deaths are slower. You know, like when drought starts to come around, you know, people may die of thirst or they may die of hunger. People don't die of hunger as much in America as they do elsewhere, but still happens for sure. But yeah, no, drought, that was the highest death toll. And again, that's more of like a slow burn. It's not like a all of a sudden flash floods or all of a sudden a hurricane came and just washed all this stuff away. Like, so man, we got Caroline in the building. What's going on? Dum Dum the clown. See, oh yeah, see, I'm pretty much in the same area, you know what I mean? And yeah, like oftentimes they only fix what absolutely needs to be fixed for society to still run and function. All right, now let's go ahead and check this out. Texas abortion ban sure is killing a whole lot of babies. A study published Monday in JAMA Pediatrics found that Texas's terrible anti-abortion law has led directly to a 13% increase in infant and newborn deaths. Why? Well, partly because SB 8, the Texas Heartbeat Act passed in 2021, does not include exceptions for conditions incompatible with life. Okay, so mortality rates going up. 13% increase is a significant rate to go up since the reversal, since that law passed a few years ago. This follows a 2023 CDC study that found that the infant mortality rate rose by 3% across the United States at large. Between 2018 and 2022, there were 102,391 infant deaths in the US, with 10,351 of these deaths occurring in the state of Texas. So 10%, so like 10 over, well, not quite. Almost 10% of all of it came from Texas. Between 2021 and 2022, infant deaths in Texas huh? Increased from 1985. Okay, from 1,985 to 2,240. I thought those were years. I was like, we haven't gotten that far in time yet. It's not 2240 yet. I'm just a little slow right now. Or 255 additional deaths. This corresponds to a 12.9% increase, whereas the rest of the US experienced a comparatively lower 1.8% increase. Descriptive statistics by cause of death showed that infant deaths attributable to congenital anomalies. So I guess congenital means like if the mother passes some type of virus or something like that to the child. So like you probably have heard of like congenital syphilis or something. Like that's something that can happen. I mean, I'm sure there's all types of things that can be passed on to the child, but um that's what this means, congenital anomalies. Okay, I didn't quite finish. It says in 2022, those increased more, 22.9% increase. Bro, what the hell? That's almost 1/4 of an increase. Like, this study found that Texas's 2021 ban on abortion in early pregnancy was associated with unexpected increases in infant and neonatal deaths in Texas between 2021 and 2022, congenital anomalies, which are the leading cause of infant death, which makes sense, also increased in Texas, but not the rest of the US. Although replication and further analyses are needed to understand the mechanisms behind these findings. Those are really bad numbers that we just went through. Really bad. All right, we'll definitely continue to keep our eyes on that. And yeah, because now that I'm reading that, I remember before Roe v. Wade was reversed, a lot of Republican states were like, "All right, we're going to get these bills ready," because I think I think people pretty much knew. Oh, we got Mike Boy in the building. What's going on? Hakuna Matata. I got a Hakuna Matata poster right there. Normally I have it hanging back here, but I don't today. But yeah, no, these numbers are terrible. And it still will take another few years because Roe was reversed in 2022, so that it just happened. Um, but yeah, I mean, after about 5 to 10 years, we're gonna have just charts and charts and charts and graphs and graphs and graphs to show the negative impacts that this has had. All right, are we done? Are we done with we're almost done. I think we got one more politics thing, and then we getting into the dating stories. We going to Chip Chick. We got one more, then we going to Chip Chick. Now, let's see. I don't know. Hold on. How legitimate is this right here for real? I saw this and I was like, really? CEO bluntly breaks down why no Fortune 500 CEOs are supporting Trump in 2024. I was like, really? Are you sure? Are you certain?
No, we look back into the data, and we're looking at this now for the last 4 months. We've been pointing out that there are no Fortune 500 CEOs who are supporting former President Trump, and that is a historic break going back to William Howard Taft and through Calvin Coolidge and Ronald Reagan and the Bushes and everything. Is that it's been anywhere from 40 to 60% public and financial support. It's zero now. And it was zero in 2016. And the Trump economic package frightens them. It's extremely inflationary. The tariffs, 10% across the board on all imports, that's just crazy. It leads to a 3% increase for sure in inflation and plunging the GDP. Right. And that's before retaliatory gestures. The increase in the deficit, he wants to cut $5 trillion of taxes with no commensurate cut in expenditures. So these are problems. He doesn't believe in the independence
but
of the Fed.
what do you say to the CEOs? There's a lot of CEOs who are watching us now, probably watching you speaking, saying, but you know what? I don't like the Biden administration when it comes to the regulatory regime right now. I worry about the tax policy and what's going to happen if the Trump taxes roll off in 2025 and what that debate looks like. I mean, there are folks, as you said, 70% of the CEO community, Republicans. Do they turn out to be reluctant Biden voters? Do they not vote at all? I mean, where do you think they land?
They'll be reluctant Biden voters. They don't want the fabric of society pulled apart.
We gonna find out. We gonna find out for sure. We are going to find out. Come November, we gonna know. Okay, now let's go ahead and roll into the petty files. We gonna roll into the Chip Chick files and see what we think. So which one should we do first? Save this one for a minute. All right, we gonna start right here. Reasons that people get divorced. Wife files for divorce after her husband purposely tightens all of the jar lids in the kitchen. Now, this had to have been going on for quite some time. He had to have had this type of behavior in all areas of life because there's no way that this happened just once. A woman decided, hold on, oh, never mind. A woman decided that she could no longer be married to her husband after he tightened all of the jar lids in the kitchen to the point that she could not open them. His over tightening jar lids had been an issue since he was just visiting at my house when we were dating. First, it started with just things he used, and then over time it became every expletive. So I'm assuming she said every fucking glass jar with a metal lid. He tightened them so much I couldn't open them without assistance. I guess he was oh yeah, there's definitely more to the story. He probably no, yeah, he probably was like, you can't even open jars without me, girl. You can't do nothing without me. You need me for everything. Don't you see? Don't you get it? Her husband made excuses for why he screwed the jar lids on so tight, but it didn't ring true to her. He initially claimed that he did it to keep food fresh. She said then the excuse was that it was a habit. The woman just lived with his lid tightening as her reality until a neighbor made her realize how abnormal it was. So about we're gonna watch it. It probably won't
His
play. It never plays. Yeah, TikTok messes up on purpose unless you have the app up. So about a month ago, my husband had a family emergency and had to travel out of state for 10 days. First day he's gone, I discover a jar I can't open. I was annoyed and was going to the store to buy new pickles when the neighbor said hi and to let him know if I needed anything while her soon to be ex was out of town. I said, wait here, and she got a jar, which he opened. After she asked him to open another jar, the neighbor offered to come in and open all the jars for her. Yo, you remember from SpongeBob? This is making me think of this is he said he thought she was cheating, so he tightened the jar and he counted the number of pickles in it. Right, be like, there's no way there only a man can open this jar. So when I come home, if these jars is loose, I know you cheating. Yo, that's crazy. Oh yeah, the SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob was trying where Patrick he wanted a job. They was trying to give him a job at the Krusty Krab. And the he was like, put your hand on the lid, stop. And then he finally had it. He couldn't open the lid. It was funny. He said, this was intentional. It was every jar, and I'm sure he doesn't regularly use hot pepper paste or mango puree or any of your other fancy cooking stuff. Then he held up the two jars he couldn't open and said, I don't know why he's doing it, but it wasn't an accident. I couldn't sleep that night, she recalled, tossed and turned all night. I called out of work by 10 a.m. I realized I couldn't stay married anymore, and I made an appointment with a lawyer the next day. Yeah, no, they don't get along. This is not the reason why they got divorced. This was the icing on the cake. This was the straw that broke the camel's back whenever she probably pieced together the last thing of like, okay, he just goes about his life this way. But exactly, can you open a bottle of ketchup? You feel me? Because dang again, opening up those steak. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Steak and Shake. We had steak and shake restaurants in the Midwest when I was growing up, where they got them at IHOP. Them glass ketchup bottles, man. Them things are a motherfucker to open. But yeah, no, my guess is that they just generally don't really get along with each other. And when you don't get along with somebody, for whatever reason, it could be so many reasons, but you know, everything just starts to become unattractive about people. Like when you don't get along with them, especially if you live with somebody. Oh God. So yeah, no, that would be my guess. They just don't really like each other that much. This is funny right here. High school love. You're holding me back. Girl breaks up with boyfriend after he says she can't go to college and demands she refrain from the college experience. I'm 18. I know what's best for you. I'm 17 years old. I know what's best. Don't go to college. I don't don't go make something of yourself because me. When 18-year-old kids finally graduate high school and are ready to head to college, they might hear and have many conversations regarding the college experience. They talk about it with their parents, friends, and siblings. And in these conversations, the people who have had the college experience might tell them that they should go to college with an open mind and usually with no strings attaching them home. While I don't think you have to be single in order to enjoy college, going away to college can bring a lot of challenges to high school couples. Listen, you're probably not going to stay together. It's okay. If y'all got together as teenagers, it probably won't last forever. That's totally okay. Maybe it will, but it probably won't. So, just we're all older than 18, so we all know this. We're all aware of this. Don't go to college. I'm 18. Am I the asshole for cutting off communication with my boyfriend who claims he won't date a girl who attends in-person classes on campus? He too red pill for that shit. He too alpha. No woman of mine, no girlfriend of mine gonna be getting the education. Fuck you mean. Fuck you mean. No. Because every man she sees, she's just gonna fuck him. She's gonna fuck everybody. If she leaves my site for 5 minutes, she's gonna fuck everyone. You know how that goes. I mean, there's really not even much to go off about. You're 18 years old, and it probably wasn't gonna work anyway. But I explained that math is not my strongest subject, and I would excel more adequately in the in-person learning environment. I've given this a lot of thought and consideration, understanding the gravity and potential impact it could have on our relationship. I'm not even set on doing all of my math classes in person, but his emphasis on his dislike of women. I don't like women who attend in person classes. I'm 18 years old. I don't like women who. Boy, you ain't dating no women. You dating little girls. You dating little kids. Yeah, no. Just go ahead and go off to college. Do your thing. He said he's allowed to have that preference in a relation. Yeah, he's been watching too much Andrew Tate. This sounds like somebody who's been watching a whole lot of Manosphere lately. Can't let your girl have a life because she's gonna fuck everybody. He used an analogy with dogs. I don't know what that's supposed. Drugs, maybe. I guess that I don't know. Maybe that's what it says because it looks like there's a G right here. Maybe that's supposed to be drugs, claiming I'd be like him, not wanting me to do whatever that is. But the two life choices aren't. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, no. And he's not a man. He's 18. He's a kid. He's a kid. He's not a man. But yeah. Go ahead and get your education and keep dating. You'll meet other guys for sure. You'll definitely meet other guys. All right, now what do we have here? This is interesting. He felt like a third wheel while his wife chatted with another man at a bar. So he approached two women and his wife was furious. People like this are funny because men and women, can have these types of traits where they're like, I can do it, but you can't. No, it's different when it's different when it's me. No, it's not different. You're just listen. Okay, let's read. Damn, girl. Jesus. I keep getting these text messages. When you and your partner go out, you should be allowed to chat with people of the opposite gender. But when you exclude your partner from those conversations, it can hurt their feelings. One man recently got into trouble with his wife after chatting with two women while they were at a bar because she wouldn't include him in her conversation with another man. He and his wife are in their mid-30s and recently went out to a bar for some drinks and dancing. After getting to the bar, he handed his wife cash to get them some drinks and headed to the restroom. When he left the restroom, he saw his wife talking to another man at the bar with their drinks. He didn't think anything of it at first and went over to join in. However, when he tried to include himself in their conversation, it didn't work out. I felt so awkward standing there as this guy had no idea who I was and my wife didn't introduce me. So I stick out my hand to introduce myself as her husband, and the guy just blankly stares at me and gives me a limp wrist handshake. My wife and the guy continued their conversation. No, see, if that was me, I would have been deeply offended. This would trigger the shit out of me. Like, no, my man's, you're talking to my lady, so I'm about to get aggressive with you. This would piss me off very badly. Like, not even in a sense of like, you're talking to another man. I don't care that you're talking to another man, but if I go over to introduce myself and you look at me like, who are you? No. No. Violent Jackson is going to come out if you do that. He began feeling like a third wheel and became increasingly uncomfortable, so he decided to chat with two women he saw hanging out at the bar. After all, he and his wife went out to socialize, although he wanted them to socialize together. His wife ruined that. He was innocently, hold on. Somebody blowing me up. He was innocently chatting with one of the women about a band they both like when his wife gave him the death stare and pulled him away. No, 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 no. You guys she's a little too comfortable. She feels like she's better than you and like she runs shit. And it's not like you have to run shit, but nah, she nah, nah. You're a little too comfortable. Later, when he and his wife discussed what happened, she couldn't understand that he essentially did the same thing she did that night. I explained that I felt like a third wheel with her and the guy at the bar since they were ignoring the things I said, and she didn't even introduce me. I told my wife that she and I were speaking with that guy, and I were speaking with the women in the same situation. He and his wife argued back and forth for a while because she thought their situations were different. She sounds a little narcissistic. I don't know enough about her, but this is narcissistic people. People are goofy like this. Like they're kind of dumb. You know what I'm saying? It's like they can't understand very basic things because their insecurity doesn't allow them to see what's right in front of their face. Because nothing really was wrong. There was nothing wrong with her chatting with the guy. You know, they went out to socialize. There's absolutely nothing wrong with talking to people. But like, no, you can't. Your husband comes over and tries to join the conversation, and you don't introduce him. You just keep talking. But then when he goes over and just has a casual conversation, you give him the death stare because that's not okay. No, I just flat out wouldn't get along with a woman like this. One, because no, and two, she just seemed no, no. She said he was in the wrong because he approached the random women at the bar first, while the guy she spoke to approached her first. Yeah, she's a narcissist. This is ridiculous. This is how narcissistic people think. And when you really understand how narcissists work, um, when you really understand how narcissistic people think, like it's a joke. Like it's not like when you don't get it, it's like, oh, why are they like this? But then when you get it, it's like, wow, you're kind of pathetic. But no, this is goofy. I mean, this is just kind of a goofy situation. She was really immature. She this was kind of a dumb situation. It's different because it's me. No, it's not different. You're just insecure and selfish. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just insecure and selfish. That's all that is. But that was an easy one. That was a pretty easy one. Now, let's go to one where the husband is tripping. The wife was tripping in that story, but now we're gonna go to one where the husband is tripping. But no, that was goofy. That was stupid. Um, you know, all she had to do was say, "Oh, hey, this is my husband," and that's it. You feel me? Like that's dumb. But yeah, that was silly. She told her husband that he couldn't just take 3 days off of work to play a new video game, and he hasn't been speaking to her ever since. Oh, oh, are you mad because she wants you to be an adult? Oh no! What's the game? The new Call of Duty came out. I'm 42 years old. I gotta take 3 days off work. Yeah, no. Okay, how old are they? How old are they? Oh, oh yeah, I was right. He's almost 40. Yeah, no, 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 man. Come on, man. This is the type of stuff that you do when you're like in high school or grade school, and you're like, I don't want to go to class. I'm gonna play video games. This man is almost 40 years old. This 33-year-old woman is currently married. And for her 37-year-old husband's past birthdays, she's always gone big. She typically buys him expensive presents or plans fancy days out of the house for him. Man, it is hot. It is hot. I got this tank top on. I'm sweating. Man, it is hot. Hey, right. If he has the paid time off, he good. If he doesn't have the paid time off, then then it's kind of like, no, we need the money, especially if he's not on salary. Now, if you're on salary, well, you're gonna make your money anyway. But if you got to clock in, that could cause some problems. However, for his birthday this year, he actually asked her not to do anything. I was a little disappointed, she recalled. But he was a part of some of the recent tech layoffs. Oh, okay. So he got that. So I guess that was, what was that? What bank was that? I can't remember what the name of the bank was when all those tech layoffs went down. I'm blanking on the name of that bank, but I'm sure y'all remember. So she pivoted the conversation and asked if he wanted to just go out to dinner or if there was anything small she could do for him for his birthday. Well, at that point, he revealed that there was a new video game expansion coming out the same day, and he asked if she could just leave him alone all day to play it. Yeah, just let me play games and leave me alone. She was fine with that too, and actually made plans to take their 9-year-old child out on her husband's birthday, leaving him all alone to enjoy playing his game. Yet even after that, her husband still approached her and asked if she'd be okay with him taking a few more days off from work. That way, he could keep playing the new video game. She simply didn't think that was a good idea, though, because her husband just started a brand new job and doesn't even have paid time off yet. Well, yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Nah, bro, you just started a job. You don't want to jeopardize your position. We have a 9-year-old child. You can't really do this. His schedule will be changing every 6 weeks or so. And the better he performs at work, the more likely he will be to get decent shifts. Taking this into consideration, I told him no, she reasoned. Pretty reasonable, pretty adult decision. You know what I'm saying? Pretty adult decision right there. All right, let's see. Still, her husband didn't really accept her opinion and continued pestering her about it for 3 days. Then, just last night, she finally hit her breaking point and snapped at her husband. Yeah, he definitely seems like that would be pretty annoying. Like, oh, I want to jeopardize my job for the video game. Like, bro, you're 37. Shut up. Go to work. She asked him why he even bothered consulting her about the idea if he wasn't going to listen to her reasoning, and her husband replied by claiming he respected her opinion. I said it seemed excessive and that it wasn't the best time. Nonetheless, her husband did it. Yo, I'm sitting here thinking how these stories make it to Chip Chick because these are the most random stories. Interesting. You got to follow them. You got to dig your nose into other people's business who are willing to put it out there. Quite frankly, she was pretty fed up with her husband by then and ultimately told him to just do whatever he wanted. This made him all angry and huffy too, and ever since their argument, he hasn't been speaking to her. So now she's been left wondering if telling her husband he can't take 3 days off of work just to play video games was so crazy or not. No, it wasn't crazy. He'll get over it. If he doesn't want to talk to you, then don't talk to him. Eventually he'll talk to you because he'll start to feel stupid. So that would be my advice. He's acting like a little boy. And if he doesn't want to talk to you because he's in the wrong, well, fine. You don't, but fine. You feel me? If you want to give me the silent treatment because you're wrong, then I'll give you the silent treatment too. Eventually, he'll feel ridiculous and he'll talk to you again. He'll probably apologize too. So, yeah. Sometimes you got to let people sit in their own shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was an easy one. The first one, that was a pretty easy one. The second one was an easy one. The wife was tripping in the first story. The husband was tripping in the second story. Now, let's see. Now we got some silly young people shenanigans. Silly young people shenanigans. His girlfriend says she wanted to split up as a test to see if he'd fight for her. So he broke up with her since he doesn't like mind games. Yeah, no, you don't do stuff like this to people. You don't do stuff like this to people because getting broken up with sucks. It sucks, man. Like it sucks, and it can take a long time to get over it. Sometimes you never fully get over things. Like you might get over it, but it can change you. You know, it's really difficult. And even if it's not a romantic situation, like whenever a relationship comes to an end with somebody that you love, whether it's romantic, whether it's a friendship, it's sad, you know what I'm saying? Like even if it's time for the relationship to come to an end, it's sad. You know what I'm saying? But no, yeah, no, you don't do shit like this to people. Have you ever had someone try to test you while you were in a relationship with them? Not quite like this. One man, I mean, people are always testing each other, but not this deliberately. One man recently broke up with his girlfriend who tested his commitment by telling him she wanted to break up when they were supposed to move in together. And again, it's yeah, no, because if you're thinking that stuff's going good, all of a sudden somebody's like, it's time for us to split up. I mean, bro, that would throw your whole world out of whack. I wouldn't be able to focus on anything. Are you serious? If I was just going about my day and all of a sudden my girl texted me and was like, we're done. Like I wouldn't be able to do shit. Like what the fuck? Well, like what? Like, no, you can't do shit like this to people, man. But yeah, no, this type of stuff is definitely never a one-time thing. People like this go about their lives like this. Um, he's 25 and was with his now ex-girlfriend for a year and a half. He went through a very difficult breakup with a girl who broke his heart when he was 16. Get over it. I always kind of laugh when people talk about their high school. Ooh, and like, I get it, but you were in high school, so you know what I mean? Like, was it really that serious? Maybe it was, but usually it's not. Adult relationships tend to be much more real than I gotta be home at 10 o'clock or I'm gonna be grounded. You know what I'm saying? But he met his most recent ex-girlfriend at a social event for people who work in the same field and they hit it off. Great way to meet people, by the way. Dating apps are fine, you know what I'm saying? It can be difficult for people to meet people, their work schedules, where they live, all types of stuff. But the old-fashioned way is the best way to meet people. Meet people of all kinds for all kinds of relationships. You know, if you like to dance, if you like to play basketball, if you're into fashion, go to events, sign yourself up for classes. You'll be able to meet people that way. Just before their relationship ended, they felt ready to take the next step in their relationship. We have been talking about moving in together because our city is expensive and we thought we could save some money. Her apartment was bigger than mine, but I own mine. So we were working stuff. You're 25 and you own an apartment. Okay. Last weekend, out of nowhere, she said that we were moving too fast. I said, no problem. We didn't make any plans that couldn't be undone yet. Then his girlfriend told him she wanted to break up with him and she couldn't tell if he was truly committed to her or not. He simply said, okay. And she freaked out. Yo, and that's funny too when people do stuff like that because, man, I mean, you can't do stuff like this to people for a lot of different reasons. But one of the biggest reasons that you don't want to put breaking up on the table with people for an ultimatum is because a lot of people will say, all right, if that's what you want, that's what I'll give you. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm one of those people. If you tell me that you don't want to be with me anymore, I am going to give you that. You ain't gonna hear from me. You ain't gonna see me looking in your stories. I'm moving the fuck on. I'm not about to be your tag along. Hey, you pal. Hey, you buddy. You still an option for me? No, I'm not still an option for you because you left me. You see what I'm saying? Because no, you can't do that. A lot of people aren't going to tag along and stick on your heels if you break up with them. A lot of people will move the fuck on if you break up with them because you should. It's healthy. That is the healthy thing to do. Now, unless you have a good now, you could have a decent relationship with that person. Maybe it just didn't work out in the end. But unless y'all have something to do, like unless y'all have a child together, or maybe you're in business together, or maybe you just are upkeeping something together, there's really ain't no point in talking. You know what I'm saying? It's really not. So No, you can't do shit like this to people. If you tell me we're done, I will give that to you. And it's not a mind game. People will do that and then think that you're playing mind games. Like, I'm not playing mind games. I'm doing what you said. You said you don't want me in your life. Bye. Fuck you mean. You know what I'm saying? So exactly. You feel me? Like, what you mean? And people will ego trip like that. You know, not everybody, but like, no, you can't dump somebody and then expect them to just be in your life. No, that's not no. I don't do that anymore, and I do not appreciate mind games. I told her that I would box up anything of hers that might be at my place, and she could pick it up. His girlfriend had a meltdown. Yeah, you fucked around and you found out. That's what happened. His girlfriend had a meltdown accusing him of using her over the last year. Although that was far from the truth, he was ready to have a future with her, but didn't want to enter a relationship that consisted of mind games. And he's only 25 too, so they got time. They had been together for a year and a half. I'm sure this probably ain't the first time he saw something like that. He refuses to forgive his now ex-girlfriend, but some of his family members have told him he'd be a jerk if he didn't give her another chance. So that's nice that they said that. That's good for them. No, I mean, I don't know the rest about their relationship, but that's pretty pretending to break up with somebody is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You can't do stuff like that to people and then expect them to just be like, "Oh, well, no." It's totally okay if you play around with my feelings like that. I don't mind. I don't mind if you break my heart for fun. Nah, man. All right. Now, right. She thought he was gonna be the one free. That's what no, and you know what? That's what she wanted to see. What she wanted to happen was she wanted him to freak out so that it could boost her ego. That's all that was about. Is ego trip. I mean, so much of what we do is about our egos. So much of what we do is about our egos. But yeah, no, what she wanted was for him to be sad so that she could feel important. Keep that in mind. People who when people are just kind of habitually terrible to others, usually they're feeding themselves. It's how they feel good. I must really be something special if I got this person crying and tripping over me. Because if I mean, yeah, I must be great. Like that's how there's people like that out here. Narcissists are mostly like that. Those are narcissistic traits. Like they get their supply of feel good by making other people feel like shit. Like, oh, I'm so important. I'm so cool because she's crying. That's how they work. Oh, I love to see you sad. It makes me feel so valuable. Because yeah, that's how they work. But once you understand how people like that truly operate, you see how pathetic they are. It's not hurtful anymore. It's like, oh, you're just a joke. You're pathetic. You feel terribly about yourself. You're nothing, and you know it. And once you get that, it's just not it. You can move on. Her husband lost his job and he wanted time off to do absolutely nothing. So she said he either needed to help out around the house while she worked full time or they were getting a divorce. Seems fair to me. Seems fair to me. All right. This 36-year-old woman is currently married, and her husband, who is 37 years old, used to work full time to support their family. And at the same time, she was a stay-at-home mom who took care of their 2-year-old daughter. Sounds like they got a setup. Sounds like they got some teamwork going on. You know what I'm saying? But just last month, their lives were flipped upside down when her husband lost his job after he told her the news. He also claimed to feel exhausted and admitted that he was not eager to find a new position or to do anything else, really. At the time, she understood his feelings too and told her husband that was okay. Okay, you just lost your job. That's got to be difficult. Take a little time, get yourself back together and get on out there. Because again, not only are we married, we got kids. So, you're gonna have to get up off your ass sooner than later because we got other mouths to feed. But yeah, so let's keep it going down. Um, and I offered to work so he could look after our daughter at home and get some rest until he feels better. Sounds great to me. Sounds, again, teamwork. Shit happens. People lose jobs, contracts get lost, people get sick, things happen. And when things happen, that's the whole thing about partnership. You want a good partner so that you can work through these obstacles together, because they gonna come. Obstacles and problems are going to come. To be clear though, her daughter is already enrolled in daycare, so which is very expensive. Daycare should be like, how much is daycare? Daycare can be expensive. So then there's also stuff that they got to pay for that. They got to pay for daycare. Be like 2,000 a month and stuff like that, or up there. It can be. You got people watching and taking care of your kids all day. They got to be compensated for that. Um, well, while she thought that was a fair compromise, her husband actually told her no, and even said that he needed his time to be completely free without any other responsibilities. This understandably made her really angry, because this means I either work while also taking care of our daughter, or our family will face significant financial pressure. Nonetheless, she decided to take a step back and give her husband the time and space he asked for. So, for the following month, she worked extremely hard and took care of everything around the house. Oh, and so he wasn't, so she worked and did stuff around the house. He was just like, I don't want to do anything at all. I don't want to work. And I don't want to clean up. I don't want to do that. I don't want to clean. Listen, man, when you're an adult, you got to clean up. You just do, So that always kills me when grown men act like they can't clean. Like, dude, you can clean up. Okay, you can clean up. I work. I'm at home all day long, which means I dirty the house more than people who aren't at home all day long. And my house is always clean because I'm always cleaning it. But I'm a man, but I know how to clean because it's an essential life skill. You gotta clean up your living space. So he was just hanging out with friends and playing video games on his PS5 all day. I don't know about you, but if I was almost, I mean, shit, I'm 32. So even if I had a friend who was doing this now, if I was almost 40 years old and I had a friend who was like, yeah, I just want to play on my PS5. I don't really do anything. I'd be like, bro, your wife is going to leave you. You better get your ass up and go be somebody. Shit. If you want me to keep talking to your ass, you better get your ass up and go be somebody. Because I ain't got no time to be friends with no bum ass people. I'm sorry, not sorry. And what do I mean by that? Everybody goes through hard times, but if you're not trying, then why should anybody care? You know what I mean? If you don't care, why should I care? After a while, she couldn't take it anymore either. That was when she finally confronted her husband and gave him an ultimatum. More specifically, she claimed he needed to choose between either being a house husband while she worked full time or getting a divorce. She didn't even say that you got to go get a job. She just said, motherfucker, clean up after yourself. Clean up a little bit. And he's like, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. I don't have the skills or the technology. He chose the first, but it felt forced. He was like, fine, fine, okay, I'll get up and I'll clean. So now, even ever since then, she can't help but wonder if she was too harsh. Oh no, you weren't too harsh, sweetheart. You're no, no. What a loving woman. What a sweet woman this must be. My husband won't work, he won't clean. Am I being mean? No, 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 you're not being mean. You're not being mean. I think you gave him a very fair ultimatum. Like, look, man, get your ass up. I'm losing. I'm losing my interest in you. Okay? Go do something. All right. Now, lastly, we gonna check out some names that's coming back. You know what? My name is Jackson, as I'm sure all of you knew. But growing up, it wasn't a lot of Jacksons running around, but now it's a whole lot of Jacksons running around. I meet so many kids with my name, And every time I do, I tell them, do my name good, son. That's exactly what I say. I say, you better do my name well. You better be successful. You can't be out here fucking up with my name. I'm gonna find your ass. I tell them that. And yeah, but there's a lot of Jacksons. I low-key wish my name was spelled Jackson instead of Jackson. I think that would be kind of sweet. It'd be kind of rad. That'd be kind of dope. All right. Let's see. 40 classic old man names for your modern baby. George. George. I know a lot of Georges. I don't know if that ever really went out of style, but I do know a lot of Georges. Herbert. I don't know a lot of Herberts. I remember Herbert from Raising Arizona. Have any of you seen Raising Arizona? Great movie. Nicolas Cage. What's his name? John Goodman. There's a bunch of people in there. Good movie. Herbert. Yeah, we call him Herb. Herb for short. Arthur. I don't know if I know any Arthurs. Arthur is a decent name. I used to watch Arthur every single day. Literally every morning I watched Arthur. Every day when you're walking down the street, everybody that you meet, they get along with each other. And I say, hey, what a wonderful time of day where we can learn to walk and play and get along with each other. You gotta listen to your heart, listen to the beat. Okay, my bad, y'all. I was just in a little nostalgia right now. All right. Alfred. Well, that's just dope because Batman, you feel me? Batman is the best. So Alfred, you know what I'm saying? Alfred is where it's at. I remember that one scene where Ben Affleck was like, I don't deserve you, Alfred. And Alfred was like, no, sir, you don't. There we go. He said, I know a George. He's a bitch. Well, fuck George. If that's the case, then fuck George. All right, now where we go? Howard. That's a name with some oomph to it. You got. If your name is Howard, that just sounds like you're a studious man. Otis. That was my grandfather's name. My grandfather's name was Otis. I never met the man. He died to gin. Gin took his life when my father was 18. And I wasn't born until my father was 42. So I extra didn't know Otis. But Otis was my grandfather's name. We got Chester. I know a Chester. Robert. I know plenty of Roberts. Lewis. I know a Lewis. And I'm from St. Louis. Edgar. I don't know any Edgar other than Allan Poe. Walter. I know several Walters. Lawrence. I know Lawrence's. Don't know any Nelsons except a full Nelson. Gerald. I know some Geralds. Yo, this reminds me. Gerald, I used to always be like, Gerald, who's that woman? I don't want you hanging out with her, Gerald. She's a whore. Where's the Social Security check, Gerald? Is that woman taking our Social Security check? She keeps coming around here, Gerald. Stuart. Herman. Herman Cain. Y'all remember Herman Cain? William. Oh, there's plenty of Williams. Franklin. Franklin the Turtle. Y'all remember Franklin the Turtle? Ralph. I know a Ralph. Wilfred. You sound like a prestigious gentleman with Wilfred. Clarence. Clarence Thomas. Harold. I know a Harold. Bernard. A Saint Bernard. Calvin. I know me some Calvins. Darwin is actually my dad's name. My father's name is Darwin Raphael White. I like that name. Yes, my father's name is Darwin. And my dad is 73 or 74 years old. Edward. Oh, there's plenty of Edwards. Emerson. I like that. I really like that name. Emerson is a great name. That's a really strong name. Harlan. That's different. I don't know if I've ever met any Harlans, but Harlan sounds pretty good. Mortimer. I don't know. Maybe I feel like I've heard that somewhere before, but I can't point it out. Mortimer. Stanley. Stanley Cups. Thaddeus. Oh, that's another good one. Thaddeus. That's powerful. Wayne. I know Wayne. There's a Wayne. Wayne is my neighbor. Ronald. I know me some Ronalds. Gunther. Whoa. I've never met a Gunther. This sounds like an anime character's name. If your name is Gunther, you're definitely an anime person. You said Emerson is on the list. The wife is approved. Oh, well, look at that. Go ahead. See, I knew when I read the name Emerson, it just stuck out to me. I really like that. Bartholomew. Speaking of Bartholomew, one of my pipes is named Bartholomew. I got me it's called a steamroller. I don't know if y'all familiar with steamroller. I got a steamroller. It's about yay big. It is a big steamroller, and his name is Bartholomew. Yes, indeed. I named one of my pieces Bartholomew. Everett. Not a bad name at all. Charles. No, plenty of Charles. Raymond. I think I know a Raymond. Harrison and Clifford. Clifford, the big red dog, of course. Now, thank y'all for joining me today on this Tuesday live stream. We was going on for a bit today. We almost went for an hour and 40 minutes. Time flies when you're having a good time. Yes, Bart. Bart, yes, indeed. Yeah, no, thank y'all for kicking it with me today. Thank y'all for joining me. We had a good time. I'm still getting everything ready for our next mental health episode. It just takes a lot of time for the research. You said Everett is for bitches. Everett is out. Clifford is in. Emerson is the winner to me. That's my favorite name out of all the ones that I saw. But join me tomorrow. I'll be streaming. I love and appreciate all of you. Y'all have a fantastic rest of the afternoon. I'll see you soon.